Hello friends, today we are going to discuss EV spectroscopy in that application of EV spectroscopy. This is the last part of this topic. We have learned dyne system, Enon system, then what is homoannular dyne, heteroannular dyne, extended conjugation, everything we have covered. Now this is the last part of the topic. What we are going to discuss is the application of EV spectroscopy. What is the first application? It is the determination of extended conjugation or content of extended conjugation. In first example, there are six carbon atom and two double bonds are involved. These two double bonds are not connected to close to each other, that are away from each other, and therefore when two double bonds are away from each other, it is called as isolated system or non-conjugated system. In case of non-conjugated system, it means that two double bonds are away from each other, means they are not in alternate fashion or conjugated fashion. That time it is called as non-conjugated system. And in this non-conjugated system, when we calculate the lambda max of such a compound, that comes near about 175 nanometer. But when we take another example, means containing same carbon atom, that is six carbon atom and two double bonds are in alternate fashion. What do you mean by alternate fashion or conjugated fashion? Just you count that double bond like this: double bond, single bond, double bond. Once again, double bond, single bond, double bond. This is the situation in the organic compound. Then it is called as conjugated double bond, or it is also called as uh, conjugated double bond. And when we calculate the lambda max of this compound, it is coming near about 217 nanometer. This is the conjugated system. But in first case system, if you look at that one, the conjugated double bond is not there. That double bond is isolated or non-conjugated. In that case, lambda max is 175, but in this case, it is 217 nanometer. What it indicate? That compound contain extended conjugation or can have conjugated system. You look at the another system that is explained well, the extended conjugation. See in this example, double bond, single bond, double bond. This is the parent die. This is the parent die now. But when we look at the further part of the structure, you'll find that double bond is also there in that structure. That double bond is also in the conjugation of parent die. It means that see the double bond and single bond situation. Double bond, single bond, double bond. This is the parent one. You count furthermore double bond, double bond, single bond, double bond. So whatever double bond that I have here, that is called as extra double bond, and which is in the conjugation of parendyne. And when we calculate lambda max of such a kind of compound, then it is called as extended conjugation, and that value comes in the range 258 nanometer. So one extended conjugation, when it is increased, you have to add 30 nanometer when you are calculating the lambda max of any kind of compound. So this is the very interesting application that one can understand whether that given organic compound extended conjugation or not. If you look at the another application of this spectroscopy, UV spectroscopy, is that the detection of chromophore. So we have learned what do you mean by chromophore, exochrome, bathochromic shift, hypsochromic shift, every terminology that we have learned. Now this is the one application, that detection of chromophore. The strong absorption usually is characteristics of pi to pi star transition. If absorption occurs about 200 nanometer, a conjugation system of multiple bond is indicated. What it indicates? When we consider the organic compound, may contain carbon-carbon double bond, may contain carbon-oxygen double bond, may contain carbon-nitrogen double bond, carbon-nitrogen triple bond, carbon-carbon single bond, carbon-nitrogen single bond, or it may contain carbon-OH bond, carbon-NH bond. When such a kind of system is involved in the organic compound, then it shows the different kind of transition. Just like N to pi star transition, pi to pi star transition, N to sigma star transition, and sigma to sigma star transition. All these four transitions are occur in the organic compound. But what is important here? Pi to pi star transition is very important and it is strong and it requires very less energy compared to the other part of transition. So this is a very interesting things. Weak absorption of N to pi star transition of an isolated carbonate group. This absorption found at 270 to 350 nanometer. And when we have N to sigma star transition, that absorption is near about 200 to 260 nanometer. So this is very important one, and you can detect chromophore by using this one. Then detection of geometrical isomers. You know that what do you mean by geometrical isomers? First of all, what do you mean by isomers? Isomers are the compound who are having the same molecular formula but a different structural formula. That is called as isomers. What do you mean by geometrical isomers? It means that the isomers which having the different position of the particular groups or atom across the carbon-carbon double bond or in the compound, that is called as geometrical isomers. So you can use this for the determination of geometrical isomers in the organic compound. Look at this. This is the cis stilbene. In case of cis stilbene, what happened? Carbon double bond is there, and at below the site hydrogens are there, and above the side of the carbon carbon double bond two phenyl rings are there. So this is called as cis stilbene. When light is exposed over it, what will happen? Cis isomer is get converted into the tris isomer. It means that when similar priority of group, that is phenyl phenyl, both are similar priority group, that similar priority group when they are present on the same side of the different side of the double bond, then it is called as trans stilbene. Look at the hydrogen here. Two hydrogens are present on different side of the double bond. It means that they are opposite side of the double bond. One is above the double bond of the carbon carbon and another is below the double bond of carbon carbon. So therefore this is called as trans stilbene. Now you will have the question which having the more lambda max. Definitely if you look at the cis isomers and tris isomer, you'll observe that trans isomers always have uh, higher lambda max. Reason is that if you look at the first compound, that is cis stilbene, you'll observe that two bulky groups are coming closer. When two bulky groups are coming closer, they are wasting their energy to pull uh, away from each other, and therefore absorption is down. But if you look at the trans isomers, as bulky group are far away from each other, they don't have any kind of steric hindrance, and therefore they are having the higher absorption and needed lower energy. So this is the main reason that bulky groups, whether they are on the same side or whether they are at the opposite side of the carbon carbon double bond, that decide the absorption of that particular organic compound. See here, when two bulky group substituents are on the same side of the double bond, close proximity, then cloprinate of pi system lowering the resonance, so that to some extent this increase the delta value, making the transition more energetic. Absorption shift to the lower wavelength. Look at this. This is the very again interesting application. You can take another example. One is called as cis cinnamic acid and trans cinnamic acid. In case of trans cinnamic acid, two hydrogens, they are present opposite side of the carbon carbon double bond, and one is carbonyl group, another is phenyl ring, and they are also present at the opposite side of the carbon carbon double bond. Now COH group, this COH group is this COH group is and phenyl group, they are having the higher priority, and they are considered as the same priority group. When same priority group present on the same side of the double bond, it is called as cis compound, and if they are present at the different side of the double bond, it is called as trans compound. So look at this in trans compound, as two bulky groups COH group and benzene phenyl ring, they are away from each other, they don't have any kind of steric hindrance, therefore it can lower the energy and having the higher lambda max. And if you look at the second one, that is cis cinnamic acid, you'll find that COH group and phenyl ring, they are coming closer, they are present on the same side, and they are having the steric hindrance. Therefore, that value is 268 nanometer. So, trans-cinnamic acid having more lambda max, while cis-cinnamic acid having lower lambda max. One can also have the next application, determination of structure of organic compound. Means this is the R&D part, that is research and development part. When you synthesize the new organic molecule and you want to find out the name of that organic compound, or what things are there, whether double bond, aromatic ring, or many more things are there in the organic compound. When you are finding such kind of things, that time it is used or called as structure determination. And this structure determination is one of the most important application of UV spectroscopy as far as spectroscopy phenomenon is concerned. Likewise, we have another application which is called as qualitative analysis. Another is called as quantitative analysis. What do you mean by qualitative analysis? What do you mean by quantitative analysis? Qualitative means how many different type of elements are there, how many different type of metals are there. That is called as qualitative. Qualitative means another way, when we use UV spectroscopy. In that case, we don't want to see whether they are having different carbon, different oxygen. We are not interested in that case. Well, what is interesting as far as conjugated system is concerned, as far as homoannular dyne is concerned, as far as heteroannular dyne is concerned, as far as exocyclic double bond is concerned, as far as that various substituents are concerned, that information we are getting from qualitative analysis. In qualitative analysis, you are getting this kind of things, and you can know that okay, this compound contain carbon carbon double bond, this compound contain uh, human lardine. Likewise, information is coming under this qualitative analysis as far as UV visible spectroscopy is concerned. But when we are considering the quantitative analysis means whatever organic compound is given for the analysis, how many carbon carbon double bonds are there in the compound, whether they are in the conjugation or not, and how many such kind of conjugated double bonds are there. It means that you will find that quantitative analysis of hormonal diet, or you can say extended conjugation, or you can say number of substituents. Likewise, information you are getting from quantitative analysis. So in quantitative analysis, you are getting particular number, while in qualitative analysis, you will get different qualities of that organic compounds. Next application that we have here, which is called as the strength of hydrogen bond. So strength of hydrogen bond can be determined by making use of UV spectroscopy. And how it is used, look at this, by taking the example of acetone. When we take the acetone, that is UV spectrum of acetone in water, means take the acetone and put a drop of water into the acetone. What will happen here? You know that acetone having structure CO, CH3, CO, CH3, and water, it is S2. One is polar solvent. So water is polar solvent, while acetone is non-polar. But even though if they are there, means acetone is organic. When they are coming closer with each other, what will happen? The hydrogen of water and acetone, that is oxygen from acetone, they may interact with each other. Or another way, hydrogen from methyl group of acetone and hydrogen oxygen of water from uh, oxygen from water, they may interact with each other, and you will find that intermolecular hydrogen bonding. When intermolecular hydrogen bonding is there, what will happen here? Intermolecular hydrogen bonding is there, definitely the lambda max value is going to be increased, because the energy is used for breaking of that intermolecular hydrogen bonding. But if you take the UV visible spectra of acetone in N-hexane solvent, N-hexane is non-polar, and therefore you do not find any kind of hydrogen bonding, and therefore energy is less, and that energy is 121 kilocalories per mole. It means that that lambda max is increased here. So when there is a no hydrogen bonding, you will have more lambda max. If there is a having hydrogen bonding, lambda max is lower. So hydrogen bonding definitely reduce the lambda max value of that particular organic compound. So one side we have taken the water as a solvent, another side we have taken the n-hexane as a solvent. So we have compared both the solvent with respect to acetone, what kind of reaction is happened with the water and what kind of reaction happened with the n-hexane. And by considering that two phenomenon, one can identify the two different lambda max values of uh, acetone in water as well as in n-hexane. And last application of this topic, that is UV spectroscopy, is that detection of impurities. How will you consider this detection of impurity in the in the organic compound? Such as, just you take the UV spectra of pure organic compound and you can take the UV spectra of putting some that impurity into that pure organic compound and take the spectra. You can compare both the spectra together. Definitely you will observe that this having the some addition of impurities. Means suppose if you add water molecule, you will get hydrogen bonding definitely into it, and that due to the hydrogen bonding, that uh, energy will be increased and lambda max will be going to be decreased. So that kind of things you can detect whether that given organic compound contain impurities or not. If it is not having impurity, definitely you will get the standard peak of UV spectra at particular lambda max. And if that impurity is added, definitely that lambda max is going to increase or decrease depending upon the type of impurity that you are added into that things. And with this we have finished this topic with the application of UV spectroscopy. Whatever I got the information or took the information for the preparation of this presentation, it is from Introduction of Spectroscopy PIVA book. And another book that I have referred is Spectroscopy of Organic Compound by P.S. Kelsey. And third book is UV Visible Spectroscopy topic or chapter from TYBSc Organic Chemistry book, which is published by the Phatke publication. One more important thing I want to mention over here as a disclaimer, that all images were copied from Google Internet source, and definitely it is used for the educational purpose only, that is non-commercial purpose only. We don't have any commercial view. We are spreading this information for the getting the knowledge to the students. Thank you.